Welcome everyone. This is the third part of the Supplementary 1. God sees the truth but waits written by Leo Tolstoy. So now let's see the continuation of line by line explanation. The previous class we stopped here. The policemen asked the soldier to search the actioner's luggage. At last they found a knife with blood stained. So after seeing the knife from the blood stained, the actioner became very frightened. He couldn't speak anything. He totally stammered. Then the policeman asked him about the presence of knife in his luggage. Actioner tried to answer, but could hardly utter a word and only stammered, "I don't know, not mine." Then after seeing the knife from his luggage, the actioner totally depressed and he couldn't speak any word. He was stammering. Then the police officer said, "This morning the merchant was found in bed with his throat cut. You are the only person who could have done it. The house was locked from inside and no one else was there. Here is a blood-stained knife in your bag and your face and the manner betray you. Tell me how you killed him and how much money you stole." Now Akshina came to know why he was searched. Because the policeman said the fellow merchant who stayed along with him in the inn, he found dead in this morning, because the policeman suspected action because he was the only person who stayed with him the previous night. He was the only person with him, so that he was stopped and searched. And also, the policeman concluded that he was the real culprit because they found the blood-stained knife in his bag, and also asked him how Akshino killed the fellow merchant and also how much money was stolen from him. Akshino swore he had not done it, that he had not seen in the merchant after they had a tea together, that he had no money except 8,000 rubles of his own, and that his knife was not his, but his voice was broken, his face pale, and he trembled with fear as though he went guilty. So Akshina said that he was not a person who killed the merchant, but the policemen were not ready to accept his words. And he promised that he had not seen him after having tea the previous night. Then he said he had only 8,000 rupees for his business purpose in the fair. But the policeman was not ready to accept his words because they found a fruit in his bag. That means a knife with the blood stained. So because of fear, he started trembling. The face totally turned into pale, and also voice was broken. In the fear, he could not speak anything. The police officer ordered the soldiers to bind Akshino and to put him in the cart. Then the police officer asked the soldiers to bind him, that means tie his leg, and put him in the cart. As they tied his feet together and flung him into the cart. Flung means here threw. So the soldiers tied his leg and threw Akshino into the cart. Akshino crossed himself and wept. He started crying. And his money and goods were taken from him. So everything was taken from him by the policeman and the soldier. And he was sent to the nearest town and imprisoned there. And he was taken to by nearest town. The policeman put up him there. The enquiries as to his character were made in Vladimir. The merchants and other inhabitants of the town said that in former days he used to drink and waste his time, but that he was a good man. When the trial came on, he was charged with murdering a merchant from Ryazan and robbing him of 20,000 rubles. So when the case came on the court, so he was charged for murdering the merchant and also the looting 20,000 rubles from the fellow merchant. The innocent Akshina are totally downcast because really he was not a culprit. He didn't know anything, but he was punished. Come to the next paragraph. His wife was in despair. Despair means the loss of hope. She didn't have any hope and did not know what to believe. Her children were all quite small, so one was a baby at her breast. The taking them all with her, she went to the town where her husband was in jail. So, action as a wife and with her small children, so they didn't know what to do. At last, his wife moved to the town where he was imprisoned. At first, she was not allowed to see him, but after much begging, she obtained the permission from the officials and was taken to him. When she saw her husband in the prison dress and in chains, shut up with thieves and criminals, she fell down and did not come to her sense of for a long time. Then she drew her children to her and sat down near him. She told him of things at home and asked about what had happened to him. He told her all, and she asked, "What can we do now?" Akishna's wife the lost all her hopes and did not believe about the murder. She was with her two small children that tried to see her husband in the jail, but she was not allowed to see him in the beginning. So after begging the officials, she got the permission. She was totally depressed to see the husband in the prison as a convict with thieves and criminals and with handcuffs. We must petition to Caesar, not let an innocent man perish. His wife told him that she had sent a petition to Caesar, but it had not been accepted. Then at last, the actioner had a great hope on the Caesar. Then he suggested his wife to give the petition to Caesar, but she said, so already she applied for the petition but several times, but all the petitions were rejected already. The actioner did not reply, but only looked downcast. Then he lost his last hope. Then he was still and downcast. Then his wife said, "It was not for nothing I dreamed your hair had turned grey. You remember? You should not have started that day." And passing her fingers through his hair and said, "Vanya dearest, so tell your wife the truth. Was it not you who did it?" His wife feared that her dream would come true, and also she showed her love by passing her finger through his hair. And also she asked him to tell her the truth. Thus means she was not ready to believe the murder. And also she was not ready to believe him. "So you too suspect me?" said Akshay, and hiding his face in his hand and began to weep. Then a soldier came to say that his wife and the children must go away. And Akshay said goodbye to his family for the last time. So really Akshay became very worried. So because his beloved wife also suspected him, and he started weeping. The soldier came and asked his wife and the children to go away because they spent enough time with him. That was the last goodbye to his family and also last meeting between the family. When they were gone, Akshay recalled what had been said, and when he remembered that his wife also had suspected him, he said to himself, "It seems that only God can know the truth. It is to Him alone we must appeal, and from Him alone expect mercy." The actioner was highly vexed and concluded that it was God who knew all the truth and that they should appeal to Him only. He alone could forgive him and have mercy. So he had a great respect to God, and every day he used to pray to God. And Akshana wrote no more petition, gave up all hope, and only prayed to God. Then after that he became very hopeless and helpless. He stopped writing petition and also he lost all the hopes for releasing. Then he started praying to God every day. Akshino was condemned to be flogged and sent to the mines. So he was flogged with a knot, and, and when the wounds made by the knot were healed, he was driven to Siberia with the other convicts. At last, he was condemned to be flogged. Flogged means beating with a whip or stick. Then, after that, he was sent to the Siberia mine with the other convicts. For 26 years, Akshino lived as a convict in Siberia. His hair turned white as snow, and his beard grew long, thin, and grey. All his mirth went, and he stooped. He walked slowly, spoke little, and never laughed, but he often prayed. Almost he spent 26 long years in the Siberia mine with other convicts as a convict. So meanwhile, he became a very old person. All his black hair turned into grey. He became very thin. He became very weak. All his joy was gone. Mirth means happiness. Then he stooped. He became very bent one because of aged one. He walked slowly. He had no energy to walk quickly. Spoke little because of wretched mind and anguished mind. He did not want to share his feeling with others. He spoke little with others and never laughed. So he stopped laughing and also forgot to laugh. But he never forgot to pray God. So every day he prayed to God. In prison, Akshino learned to make boots and earned a little money with which he bought the book, The Lives of the Saints. He read this book when there was light enough in the prison. And on Sundays in the prison church, he read the lessons and sang, sang in the choir for his voice was still good. Then, in the prison, he learned how to make a boots and earn some money. With the money, he bought a book that is called The Lives of the Saint. So, whenever there was a light in the prison, he used to read the book. And also, he used to read the book in the Sunday church, and also they sang in the choir. The choir means it's nothing but a group of people just singing in the church. Still, his voice was so good to hear because he loved singing in his young age. The prison authorities liked Akshino for his meekness, and his fellow prisoners respected him. So they called him grandfather and the saint. So all the people in the prison respected him, even the police authority, higher authority, because he was so honest and so innocent. The prisoners, they called Akshino his grandfather and the saint because he preached every time. He prayed to God. Then, when they wanted to petition the prison authority about anything, so they always made Akshino their spokesman. And when there was a quarrel among the prisoners, they came to him to put the things right and to judge the matter. And also, Akshino became the spokesman among the prisoners. If there any problem, the quarrel among the prisoners, he was the only person solve all the problems. So he was the spokesman in the prison. So no news reached Akshino from his home, and he did not even know if his wife and children were still alive. So Akshino did not get any news from his family. Even he did not know whether his family were alive or not. Thank you, students. The rest of the story will be taken in the next class. Thank you.